Hey guys! So today you and I are going to talk about insurance policies. So let's get into it. So the question in question was a follow-up on another one that I made where I'm assuming that I used the term insurance policy for a senior software developer. And so the question was, hi Frederick, I understand your point, but people buy insurance policies to ensure that they get compensated for the insured value when calamitous loss happens. In that sense, what does you are an insurance policy mean? Well, let's give some context first, because you may not have seen that video. Anywho, so in the video I claim that when you hire what I call a true senior software developer, I argue that the intent behind that and the reason why you pay this person more than an average mid-level, and that's the distinction that I usually make. A decent mid-level software developer, even like a talented mid-level software developer, will code at a very similar level to a senior level software developer. I will go as far as to say that it's very difficult to make a distinction between what a senior level can do and a mid-level can do, because at least in my experience, I've interviewed like well over 100 people now and worked with a range of people who all have the term senior. And there is virtually no way for me to tell based on their coding skills. Like, because even if you're a senior, that doesn't mean that you're actually any good at the coding. And that's the point I'm making. Like, I can't really see any difference. In some cases it's horrendously misaligned with this term, where you have so-called senior level software developers who've been working for 10-20 years and they code as well, or sometimes even worse than someone who has just 5 years of experience. So the coding itself is not the thing that I talk about when I talk about seniority. I talk about life experience, knowledge, and so forth and so forth. And these are the things that I argue, you want from an experienced software developer. The reason behind that is because if all things are equal in terms of like code output, so forth, the thing that the senior should have is the foresight and the knowledge and the personal maturity and the experiences and all that good stuff that is necessary to do something that the mid-level cannot. So a mid-level might be able to execute in terms of coding. If you tell them what to do and they know what to do, they're most likely going to be able to do some coding and get that thing to work, just as a senior. But the difference is that the senior may or may not have built similar solutions or had tons of experiences in like endless debugging sessions with various systems, worked with more tools or worked in different industries, talked to more stakeholders, so they know how to ask the right questions, they know how to usually quicker, figure out what a bug is. They might know different tips and tricks and techniques for how to do various things, because they've been doing this for so many years now that they've faced a range of challenges that the mid-level has not. It's just about experience, it's not about skill. I hope that distinction is clear, that you can have the same skill as someone, but if you have more experience, odds are that you're going to be more quicker in certain situations or more efficient in certain situations, because you've already seen similar sorts of things before, whereas the person with less experience will go on a journey of discovery. It will be one of the first times that they're dealing with this problem. That's the key difference. Now, why I call that as insurance policy is not because, if something goes wrong, you're going to get your stuff back. It has to do with ensuring that you get things right quicker and ideally on the first try. It's the same deal with if you've ever thought about corporations and why they have board members and things like that. What you usually do when you hire people for a board or similar sort of things is like you're trying to position yourself. Well, of course you try to leverage these people and their network, but it's also a large part about business knowledge. Do these people know their markets? Do they know how to run a business? Do they know what policies are important, and so forth and so forth? It's the same thing when in my role, for example. Now I am something that is, well, it's called a principal engineer, and the idea, at least in the company, this differs now from company to company, but in the specific company that I'm working at, and this is sort of the thing I've said to you guys before, it these terms, they start becoming, the higher up you go, the more it has to do with do you have the experiences that this company wants? Because when I worked as a staff engineer, which is literally the same thing, honest to God, the rough responsibilities that I had in another company where the term was staff engineer, in this company it's basically the same job description with one key difference. In this company, the situation that I work for, the situation requires me to be an expert. In essence, they're hiring me because I have the knowledge that they're looking for. If they just wanted someone who did the coding, then they wouldn't have to have me. Sure, I can do a bunch of coding and stuff like that, and maybe it's good code, maybe it's not so good code, but that's not what they want. They want to know how to do all the things that most of their, like, they've found that a lot of their own, like the people who are working in the teams, they might not be very equipped to do so. They might be really good at the coding, but maybe in this, I'll give you a few concrete examples. They don't really know how to set up a work process so that it just works and it actually produces good results. We have, like, the company has tons of problems with, testing and quality and bugs and things like that. So how do you make that go away? Because apparently just having managers who tell people, yeah, you should write tests and stuff like that, is not working. So how do you fix that? Well, you need someone who has been in a situation where they've taken, like, teams that have been low performing and made them top performers, which I have more than once. I have a track record of making these sorts of transitions happen. That's the thing that makes me an insurance policy. They pay me more than like a mid-level or someone who just does the coding, so that they can be assured that the things that are not working so well, like that, they actually do go well. It's the same thing for practically anything. If you have an expert or you have someone, it doesn't have to be me, like in IT, it can be in any field. You pay certain lawyers more, or certain football players or so forth more, because the likelihood of them performing at a level that is very high, or like ensuring success for winning the game or winning the case or whatever, that's what you pay them for. Because if it didn't really matter, then you could just arbitrarily pick someone. But usually as skill goes up, and of course this is the tricky part, perceived value goes up, the more you're going to pay them. It's the same thing if you see all the tech talkers, for example, here in IT. You have tons of people who go on tech talks, and like they have their own consultancy firms and so forth, and they usually take out a premium on being an expert in something. And the more their expertise and their fame and things like that, their personal brand grows, the more people are likely to pay them, because they believe that these people will bring them success, and they're willing to pay to increase the odds of that happening. So what I want you to take away from this is that what I mean when I say that a real senior is an insurance policy has to do with that if you have a real senior on day one for a new project, odds are that as long as if they're really good at what they do, odds are that you're not going to have any issues. Everything is going to sort of run smoothly. You're not going to have a lot of bugs or things like that. As I like to say, it's a little bit like DevOps and operations. I argue that if you have a really great operations team, you don't know how good they are. Everything just works all the time and there are never any issues. You only know how good they are until you've tried having bad ones, where everything is broken all the time, everything is delayed, everything takes a million hours, etc., etc. You never get anything done right. Same thing here. If you have a really, really, really great senior software developer, everything just always works. If you don't, nothing ever works, and everything is always painful to get through the backlog. Have a great day.